Next up on our Newsmaker hotline is Berney Flowers. Berney ran for Congress this year, but he now is seeking to make a change in the Maryland GOP. The GOP chair, Derek Hare, has stepped down, and that has opened up an opportunity for a new chairperson and a new slate of those at the Maryland Central Republican Committee. Berney, good morning. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
We're doing fine.
Well.
So you are running with a slate which has Jordana Schiffinelli, who was Lieutenant Governor candidate with Dan Cox as the chair, along with others on the slate. You would be vice chair. Derek Hare has stepped down. And so first question is, what will Jordana Schiffinelli and your slate bring different to the table?
Well, first of all, thank you guys for having me on. Most of the conservatives that I know listen to you guys religiously every morning, and I certainly do, and I enjoy you greatly. The bottom line, though, is Dan and Jordana worked really hard, as hard as humanly possible. And we all worked hard, but working hard doesn't always get you the victory that you want. We got to change the way we're doing things. And what are we going to bring to the table?
With travel beginning to resume, the Hilton Garden Inn, located in Owings Mills, wants you to know they have their Clean Stay program utilizing all social distancing, with all areas of the hotel disinfected. 410-654-0030, 410-654-0030.
Well, first of all, if I may, we got to start off with new leadership. We got to start off with new ideas. Jordana is a dynamic leader. We believe that she's the right choice to lead us forward. Along with me, Tony DeCesar. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Patriot Club in Baltimore, but they built that up from just a few people to hundreds of people, an absolute force in Baltimore. Kate Sullivan, you guys know her from election integrity. She's organized a lot of folks in the state and just a dynamic person. Myself, I ran for Congress. I lost, but I learned a lot. And also, I lost, but I didn't necessarily lose. I just ran out of time.
Listen, you may look. We know that Jordana ran with Dan Cox. Is Dan Cox supporting her in her run for the Maryland GOP chair?
I'm not sure. I have not actually spoken to Dan, and I left him a voicemail. We haven't talked, but I can tell you that Dan is a good guy. He worked hard. He worked as hard as humanly possible, and we don't want to leave him out of any of this. It's just that right now, we got to have a plan to move forward. We can't waste time. We got 2 years to get this right. Our red wave didn't happen, and we want to make it happen in 2024, and I think we have the right people to do it. I didn't mention Sally Taylor. Sally used to work for Dan, and she's been a candidate out in Carroll County. Blair Freed has been secretary of the Baltimore Central Committee for a very, very long time. She really, really, really knows her stuff and brings a lot of gravitas to our effort.
Berney, the other folks who are interested in the job, I know Nicole Harris is potentially interested in heading the state GOP. Why you and Jordana instead of Nicole and what she brings to the table?
Well, in truth, I don't know Nicole, but I do know Andy. They're nice people. I know Andy specifically as a congressman. Everybody knows him. But the issue of the day is that we've got to make some changes. And to tell you the truth, as far as our election is concerned, we got scum. We're looking at a governor who's a Democrat, an attorney general who's a Democrat, a legislature that is led by Democrats. We did not do well. And everybody who was once part of the leadership needs to be reviewed. And I say, let's bring some new leadership in with some new ideas. I mean, I'm an Air Force planner, military planner, and I planned everything from aircraft operations to cyber operations. And we should be looking at what happened, what went right, what went wrong, why did those things go right and wrong, and what can we learn from it, then execute and implement.
Well, let's talk a little bit about that, Berney, though, about what went wrong. Under Dirk Hare, his leadership, Maryland GOP lost 10 seats in the legislature this cycle alone after raising $1 million. And it has been reported that He may have exceeded legal donation limits to Nicolay Ambrose, that he was endorsing and supporting candidates in contested primaries like Nicolay and Kelly Schultz, and that he spent $1 million. The State Central Committee gave Larry Hogan $1 million and gave Dan Cox nothing. Will you promise today, you and Jordana, that you're going to stay out of these contested primaries, or at least support Republicans equally and fairly?
Yes. Period.
All right. So no money going to a favored candidate. No proclamation that we're going to always support incumbents.
We have to not put our thumb on the scale. We have to be fair, we have to be transparent, and we have to be civil. We are not unified, we are not transparent, and we are not civil right now. And we've got to stop putting our thumb on the scale. It happened to me, and, at one point when I was running in Carroll County, I was the only person on the conservative side actually registered to run for Congress. I'm not complaining about that. No, all of a sudden we got a bunch of candidates that came in, and we talked to the Maryland GOP, or we actually tried to talk to them. They didn't return our phone calls. So am I complaining? Am I whining? We don't complain. We don't whine. It does nothing for us. We make changes, and that's what we're trying to do. Sitting around complaining and whining about what used to be, that's not the way to do things. We need to take action. We need to take bold action. And I think Jordana is the right person to lead us in that effort.
All right, so I guess we're running short on time. I just want to know, when are these the elections? Will the public get a chance to see these elections or attend these elections, or does it happen all behind closed doors?
It's all behind closed doors. The Maryland Central Committees are actually the ones who make these rules. And to tell you the truth, they got left out. When it came to the Maryland GOP, a lot of the Central Committees, all of these elected people who are there to help vet candidates, help raise money, help, make sure that the people's wishes are considered by our candidates, they got ignored. And we were running around without guidance and leadership. I don't want to say anything necessarily bad about Dirk. I'm sure he did the best he could, but I've actually never met the man. And when I drive out to Central Committee meetings and meet people out in the street, they're like, they don't know the Maryland GOP. And that's the problem. We plan to get out, communicate with the Central Committee members, communicate with the public, get the congressional, or better yet, get the committees and the congresses, I keep saying that, I'm sorry, get the GOP on the same page. We're not unified. We're not transparent. We're not civil towards one another, and we're fighting each other. We're making Joe Biden's job easy, and it's going to be really hard over these next 2 years to get our stuff together.
We will wish you luck, Berney. Thanks for joining us this morning.
Appreciate it.
Thank